keys to that?
Yep.
Okay, want to call the meeting to order. Welcome everybody to Board of Adjustment. I've got a couple of announcements. One, I have to leave at 3:30, and that will destroy the quorum. So if you want to move your case to the next docket, fine, or if you want to gamble on being finished by 3:30, because if we lose a quorum, we're all leaving. So that's 3:30. And then the other announcement is I'm going to take one of the cases out of order because we got a time crunch issue on another one. So call the meeting to order. And first item is the minutes.
I'll move approval of the minutes for the September 1st, 2020 second meeting.
Can I second, or can I tell Privet to do
No,
it?
you can't. So I will second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Cast your votes.
My voting pane is not coming up, but I vote yay.
Okay. All right, continuances. Looks like we've got one request.
We have one on the agenda. We actually received another one just before the meeting. That's item 4, case 15-115, and item 6, 15-106, both to October 6th.
Okay, was there anybody here wanting to speak on either of those two applications? If not, got a motion?
Move that we continue the case numbers 15104 and 15108 to the October 6th meeting. Is that right? Was it number 4 and 6?
4 and 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little bit.
Okay, those two are continued. Next, I'm going to go a little bit out of order, and I want to take case number 2, 15107. So I'm going to call that one. Is the applicant here? Okay. Okay, we're ready then. Okay. All right, give us your name and address, and then tell us a little bit about your application.
My name is Blaine Marvel. I live at 205 Northwest 33rd Street. I'm just going to read what I wrote. I've heard that the concerns of my neighbors and plan on addressing those. I'm sorry they're upset with me about my application to rent and me not meeting them in person. I very much want to be a good neighbor and a part of this community. I bought a home in this area because it is a historic preservation district, and I very much want to keep the charm of this neighborhood. I love this neighborhood, and I don't want to devalue my home or anyone else's. I do not believe short-term rentals do this. Short-term rental tenants are known to be more respectful and would take care of my property, much more so than long-term renters. I hope by adding these rules, it will help alleviate some concerns. I will only allow 2 traveling nurses or 2 families at a time, therefore no more than 2 cars, which should be parked in the driveway, while I park my car in the street if necessary. So that will be a strict rule that I will advertise on my site, is that only 2 cars, only in the driveway. Please know I'm always available for questions or concerns.
Support. Questions from the board?
You said that you're willing to address the concerns that your neighbors expressed. We received obviously several written complaints, and we can address those in turn. But one thing that I'm curious about is there were several mentions about the number of guests that you're advertising for as being 8 as being excessive. So I think your attempt to address that is to say, well, I'll only have 2 nurses at a time or 2 families at a time,
Sure.
to address the vehicle issue. But as far as the number of guests issued, would you be willing, I mean, you only have 3 rooms to offer anyways, would you be willing to reduce that number to a maximum of 6 guests?
I'm sorry, I forgot to put that in the letter. Yes, 6.
Okay. And then a question I have is, this is your primary residence, correct? This is where you live. And so at all times when guests are going to be there, you will be there as well?
Yes, this is where I live.
Okay.
So I will live in the loft.
And are you willing to make that or include that in the advertisement on your rental?
Oh, yes.
That the owner of the property will
Yes.
be on premise?
Will be on the premises.
That's all the questions I have right now.
Any other questions? All
I
right.
suppose if I am away, that I would specify that I wouldn't be there. Like, let's say I was traveling.
Yeah, that's, my understanding is that's not an option in the HP. And we can address that with the counselor when she speaks. But my understanding is if you're renting this and it's your primary residence, you have to be, it has to be
Okay, so I
occupied.
cannot have it rented out when I'm not there.
That's what the statute says. And maybe I'm reading it wrong, but I'll let the counselor address that.
Sure, okay.
Katie Friddle is present from the HP Commission, if any of you have any questions.
Go ahead.
I'm Katie Friddle. I'm staff to the Historic Preservation Commission in the Planning Department. And yeah, for the criteria for the special exception for home sharing in HP says that in the case that the property is located within the boundaries of a historic preservation district, in which case the property shall be the host's primary residence and occupied by the host at the time of the rental. So the way I've understood that, the way I believe it was intended when this was adopted a few years ago, is that the host is to be on site when the property is rented out. Not just that it's your house and you've left to go out of town, but that
Sure.
you would be present.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
So that's back to my question then. Are you willing to include in your advertisement of the property that when they rent the house, that you're going to be there at all times? I mean, you're going to occupy that while
Yes.
they're staying there? Okay.
Okay.
That's all the questions I have right now.
All right. Give us a second. I got somebody signed up to speak on this case. Dusty Dar.
Good afternoon, members. My name is Dusty Dar. I live at 214 Northwest 33rd, across the street and maybe 1 or 2 houses down from Mrs. Marvel. I also am the head of Edgemere Park's Neighborhood Preservation Review Committee, so I pester Katie sometimes. But so I just want to rise and speak and support Ms. Marvel's amended application as you just discussed, ma'am, and I think that's very doable. As you know, there were quite a few members of the neighborhood, especially 9 neighbors, 9 different houses on 33rd Street, expressing concern, as did Edgemere Park's HOA. In visiting with Ms. Marvel yesterday evening, I think that is a good meet in the middle. And so I just want to thank her for her willingness to do that. And we have, as you can tell by the letter, a very vigilant neighborhood who will be keeping an eye out on things. So, thank you.
Thank you. I didn't have anybody else signed up. Is there anybody here who wants to speak on this application? Okay. If not, I guess we're ready for a motion.
I'd move approval of case number 15107 for the reasons that it meets the statutory conditions for the special exception requested with the following conditions. The maximum number of guests shall be advertised as a maximum of 6 guests. The property shall be advertised as off-street parking only, meaning they have to park in the driveway, not on the street. And that the property owner advertise the property to notify renters that the homeowner will be occupying the residence during the entire time of the rental. And I would recommend this for
Timeline.
a period of 1 year.
1 year, okay. Got a motion? Motion is second. As soon as there we go. Cast your vote, please. Okay, you're approved. All right, let's go back to
Okay,
number
back to
one.
item number 1, case 15118, request of Joe Selby for a variance of the front yard setback in the R1 district at 1233 Northwest 34th Street.
Good afternoon. I'm Joe Selby with Building Planners, 36 West Memorial Road. On behalf of the applicant, the owners of this property purchased the lot and house and determined the house was not salvageable. The house has been torn down and a new house has been designed. The owners wish to build the house the same distance from the street as the house that was removed, and as well as in line with the adjacent houses on the street. According to the county assessor, the house was built in 1916. The subdivision plat was filed in 1917 with the 30-foot build line. And it appears all the other houses were set back at the same spot. The applicant is requesting a variance to build at the same distance from the street as the house that was torn down. This would match the existing houses, which are 15 feet from the property line. Granting the variance would maintain the rhythm of the neighborhood and avoid a distraction from the continuity of the street. Thank you.
Questions from the board?
So the variance you're requesting is a 10-yard variance?
It's
correct?
15, yeah, right. It'll be 15 feet.
Right, but the variance is 10 yards?
That's right, that's
Got
right.
it, okay. I always have to clarify the numbers because I... Okay.
All right. I didn't have anybody signed up to speak on this one. Is there anybody in the audience wants to comment? Okay, if not, I guess we're ready for a motion.
I'll make the motion. Motion to approve case number 15118 for the reason that it meets the statutory requirements for a variance.
Do we need to specify the number of yards?
Yes,
you should
be as specific as possible.
So we're approving it for a 10-yard variance.
So,
Or
Feet.
feet.
Feet,
Let me,
feet,
Or, sorry, feet.
that's
Hey,
30
maybe-
feet.
actually,
10
now that I'm
yards,
thinking about
30.
it, it might be 15.
It is 15.
It's 15 feet.
It's a, yeah, it's a
Because
30-foot
it's-
setback, right?
The plat is
This
listed
is what
as
I'm trying
30
to
feet.
clarify. Your application
Okay,
says
so 15-foot
the
variance.
applicant is requesting a 15-foot yard setback. So if it's going to be at 15, then that's a 10-yard variance, correct?
Or feet.
In this case, it's a 30-foot,
The filed plat is actually 30 feet.
it's a 30-foot platted setback,
Got it.
so it's a 15-foot encroachment.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. Sorry about that.
Just wanted to clarify the numbers.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
15-foot variance.
15-foot variance, okay,
Okay.
good.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Cast your votes as soon as you can. You're approved.
Thank you very much.
Next item is item 3, 15114, applications for special exception of Glendon Hudson to allow home sharing at 3837 North Harvard Avenue.
All right. My name is Glendon Hudson. I am seeking a special exception for home sharing permit at the property at 3837 North Harvard. And I would like to receive a permit if there are no, if there's no resistance or objections to doing so.
Questions, comments from the board?
My question is, on your application, oh, there it is, it's 4-person, okay, sorry. It's in a different format, so
Okay.
I was wondering how many maximum number of guests that you were having, so it's 4. Okay. I don't have any issues with this one. Y'all have any questions for him?
Anybody else? Nobody signed up to speak on this one. Is there anybody who wants to address? If not, we're ready for a motion.
I'll move approval of case number 15114 for the reasons that it meets the statutory conditions for the special exception, with the condition that the property be advertised with the conditions stated by the applicant in his application, including a maximum of 4-person occupancy for a period of 1 year.
Motion and a second, so cast your votes. You're approved.
Thank you.
Item 4 was deferred. Item 5, case 15116, application for special exception of Jennifer Smith to allow home sharing at 1220 Northwest 40th Street.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Smith, and I am looking for a home sharing permit at 1220 Northwest 40th Street.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Would you just state your name and your address?
Jennifer Smith, 1220 Northwest 40th Street.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments from the board? I don't have anybody signed up to speak on this one. So we ready for a motion?
And my only question for you is, would you be opposed to advertising your property as only off-street parking?
Yes, I have a long driveway, so yes.
Okay, so that would be acceptable for you?
That would be acceptable.
Okay, because this says "or in front of the property on the street," but you'd be okay with not allowing that? Okay. Are we ready for a motion? I'm sorry.
I think we're ready.
Okay. I move approval of case number 15116 for the reasons that it meets statutory conditions for the special exception, with the condition that the property owner advertise the property with the self-imposed rules listed in her application, maximum number of 6 guests, and advertise the property as off-street parking only for a period of 1 year.
Motion and a second. Cast your votes, please. We might, but I'm going to sit here till 3:30. You're approved.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't have any additional items. No communications, any citizens to be heard? No other business? I think we're adjourned.